Are you ready for an LGBTQ Q&A? Hi friends, my name is Zoe Stoller. My pronouns are she, they. Welcome back to those who have been here before, and welcome to those who are new to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing a queer Q&A. I had put a Q&A question box on my Instagram story, and you all sent me a bunch of really awesome questions, and I'm going to answer as many of them as I can in this little period of time. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. First question, could you describe what it feels like to be genderless? That's a great question, and the answer will definitely depend for each individual person because all of these different identities feel unique for every individual experience. But I can say that one aspect of feeling genderless might be that gender just doesn't apply to you. I do know some agender people who simply just don't, connect with the concept of gender whatsoever. It confuses them, and so they themselves feel that they do not have a gender. Other times, you might just simply connect with the idea of being genderless. Sometimes in thinking about my own gender, which is gender fluid, and I shift around between kind of feeling different genders but also feeling genderless, in the times when I don't have a gender, I just simply connect with the word agender, and that's kind of how I know that I'm having a genderless experience. But again, it'll look different for every single person, and if you are feeling like you might be genderless, then you definitely are or can be, regardless of what your unique experience is. Okay, next question. Is it okay to be non-binary but want to wear girly things? Yes, that is definitely okay, because clothes don't inherently have gender. I know that a lot of people in society think that, dresses and pink things belong to girls, and then pants and blue outfits belong to boys, and that's it. You have to stay within your specific category, otherwise you're not valid, but that's not true whatsoever. Plus, because being non-binary isn't, inherently separate from the man-woman gender binary that we're given, it's even more reason to, break the rules and be able to wear, things that relate to any gender, because there's no inherent way to dress like a non-binary person. Same as there's no inherent way to dress like a man or a woman or any other gender. As I always say, as long as you're doing what feels right for you, then you are completely valid. Next question. I'm gender fluid and kind of confused about my sexuality. Any suggestions how I can figure it out? Well, first of all, I'm so glad that you're taking this time to explore your sexuality and understand it in relation to your gender of being gender fluid. Because I know it definitely can be confusing, especially because, being gender fluid, your gender shifts and changes, and a lot of times we understand sexuality in terms of gender. For example, a lot of people define lesbian as, women who love women, or as I say, non-men who love non-men. But if your gender shifts and changes, then it can definitely be super confusing where you relate in all those things. But I think that really what it comes down to is you choosing what label and what word feels best for you. And one way to kind of figure that out is getting, a list of sexuality labels and kind of reading through them and reading the definitions and seeing if any of them clicks with you or you feel especially seen and acknowledged by some of the definitions. That's definitely, how I figured out my own gender of gender fluid. I just felt kind of an instant connection with it. But it's okay if this takes time. Every part of self-discovery in life takes time, and it's super valid that you are on this journey of figuring it out, and I know that in time, you definitely will. All right, next question. One person literally just wrote, gay? So, yes, gay. Very, very gay. All right, next question. Somebody asked, is it possible to be gender fluid but also want to use different names when using different pronouns? Yeah, I know a lot of people whose, as their gender changes, then they change their pronouns, they change their name perhaps, maybe they even change the way that they dress and, kind of exist in the world. That's completely valid. I personally, as a gender fluid person, I do use different pronouns, but I don't really specify which days, I want certain pronouns. But even when I kind of feel different genders, I always stay under the same name of Zoe. I don't really change my name at all, but it's completely valid if you want to. And one way that I know of that you can kind of let people around you know what name and or pronouns you're using that day is wearing a bracelet or a pin or something like that corresponds to a certain color. For example, if you want to use, masculine pronouns and a masculine name, you can maybe get a blue pin and wear the blue pin that day. And then if you feel more non-binary and use different pronouns, then maybe you can get a purple pin and wear it on that day. And basically let the people around you know what those codes and colors mean. And then that can be just a quick and easy outward way to make sure that people are acknowledging your correct name and pronouns as it changes day to day. But again, that is a completely valid thing. And I'm proud of you and so impressed that you're working to figure all this out. Okay, the next question is, what does queer mean? Another great question. Y'all have such good questions, and I love answering all these. This is very, very fun for me, so I'm very glad that I have this opportunity to do it. But anyway, what does queer mean? So queer can kind of mean different things in different contexts, but in terms of really, sexuality and gender in the LGBTQ community, it really refers to kind of any identity that's separate from the societal norms. For example, queer can be any sexuality that is not straight, because straight is the, societal norm. And queer can also be an experience of gender that fits outside of the man-woman binary or the gender that you were assigned at birth. Basically, it's just a really awesome catch-all umbrella term for any experience that kind of contrasts the societal norms. And it's become a very big and widely used word in the LGBTQ community for several reasons. First of all, it's super open. And so a lot of people who maybe were having trouble pinpointing the exact label for their identity or finding exactly what described their experience, maybe they can feel at home with the word queer because, again, it's a bigger umbrella term. It's more vast and broad. It doesn't really narrow people down in their identities. And also, I really like using the word queer within the phrase queer community, because that's a really easy thing to say, definitely much simpler than LGBTQ community, but it also really, again, encompasses kind of every experience out there. Whereas LGBTQ, if you say that, those letters only stand for certain things, but then there are a bunch of other identities that might not really fit within that bubble. So I like to use it with that. But again, queer can kind of have slightly different meanings depending on the context, but a general rule of thumb is it's just any experience separate from societal norms. All right, this next question is just a nice one. It just says, how was your day? And my day was really great. Thank you so much for asking. I think it's, really important to talk about how our days are going, how we're feeling, especially me, because I really, struggle with my mental health a lot, and so not every day is a great day. But today has been really good. I was pretty tired throughout the day, especially because I saw Dua Lipa in concert last night, and so I was up pretty late and I was singing and dancing, that was awesome. But now I'm feeling a little more well-rested, and I felt really excited and energized to make this video, so that's really good. And I'd love to know how your day is as well, you who are watching this. So whenever you get to this point in the video, comment down below and let me know how your day is going, or your night, or your evening, or your morning, or whatever time it is where you are in the moment that you are watching this. Okay, next question is, can I still be sapphic and like men? Yes, definitely. But I'll back up for a sec and explain what exactly sapphic is. So it's a label that was inspired by the ancient Greek poet Sappho, who historically had some nice women-loving women relationships, and she wrote a lot about this in her poetry, and a lot of the work that survives today, people are really able to kind of see the queerness within it. And so Sappho inspired an LGBTQ label, sapphic. Makes sense. And sapphic basically just means, any woman or non-men who feels attraction to other women or non-men in any capacity. But the cool thing about the label sapphic versus another label like lesbian is that sapphic can definitely be open to more than just experiencing attraction just for women. So, for example, in this case, the person's asking, can you be attracted to men and still be sapphic? Yeah, if you do experience some attraction to men, but also some attraction to women, and maybe attraction to other genders too, who knows? As long as the label sapphic feels right for you, then yeah, that can definitely be you. And again, that's part of the reason why a lot of people might use sapphic over the label lesbian, because it really can include the larger, women loving women or non-men loving non-men community without confining it to just those people who, only are attracted to women and no other genders. So, pansexual people, bisexual people, queer people in general, as long as they're attracted to women, they could be attracted to other genders too, but as long as women is in there, then they are valid within the sapphic community. Okay, next question. People say coming out is not necessary at the workplace. What do you think? Another great question. It definitely, I would say, depends on the workplace. There are some occasions where you might not want to come out. For example, my first job after graduating college was as a middle school teacher, and I decided not to come out to my students because I just didn't know what their personal beliefs were, what the parents' beliefs were, and I didn't really want, my identity to potentially impact the environment of learning that we were trying to create. So I chose not to come out there. But then in my next job, I did choose to come out, in part because I did have a queer boss, which was very cool, but I also did realize that it felt important for me to be fully seen in the workplace and in any space that I was being part of. So it was important for me, and I decided to do it, but if it doesn't feel important for you, then that's totally valid. And if it does, that's valid as well. And even if you've been at your current workplace for a while and haven't come out yet, and you want to come out in the future, like, you definitely can. You know, the previous kind of in the closet time that you've spent doesn't prohibit you from then coming out and revealing who you are and having people see you for who you are. Again, if that's what you want, though. There's really so many options out there. Oops, my camera battery died, so I charged it for a little bit, and now we should be good. I have only a few more questions left anyway, so let's jump right back into it. Thanks for the patience, y'all. I know you couldn't tell on your end that my camera died. I think it'll hopefully go seamlessly into it, but now you know. Anyway, one person said, do you have good suggestions for gender-neutral boy or girlfriend labels that's not partner? Yeah, there are definitely a lot of really good options out there. And I did a post about this on Instagram like a while ago, I think. But some of the options that I remember are, you know, significant other, NB friend, date mate, lover, person, and other words like that. Because you definitely don't just have to stick to partner if that's not what feels right for you. Partner definitely gives off a very different vibe from girlfriend or boyfriend, so I understand why not everybody is comfortable with that. But there are many, many other options out there, and I know that if you look online or scroll way back on my Insta and find my post about it, you'll find so many other options as well. And I hope that one of the words out there feels right for you. All right, next question. Any advice for switching pronouns from she, her to she, they without letting my parents know? Yeah, well, one of the great things about pronouns and your personal identities and labels is that you don't have to tell people who you don't feel comfortable with them knowing. So if you don't want your parents to know what your pronouns are, then one thing you could do is just in, you know, your close circles of friends, let them know that you're switching your pronouns to she, they. But maybe if you feel comfortable, also let them know that you don't want your parents and maybe other certain people knowing. And so if they're, you know, in the loop or connected with your parents, they'll know, you know, not to say anything and maybe just use the she, her pronouns if they're with you around your parents. Also, I don't know if your parents follow you on social media, but if not, then that's a great place to kind of start opening up about your pronouns, because your social media page can be a safe space for you to let the people in the world who you want to know who you are. And I know that like probably made absolutely no sense as a sentence, but hopefully you got the gist of what I'm saying. But again, you definitely do not have to share your pronouns with anybody. It's a privilege for anybody to learn what your pronouns are, and you don't have to open yourself up in any way that makes you uncomfortable. All right, this will be the final question that I answer for today, but if you are a fan of this format of me answering LGBTQ questions, I do have another video on my page that explains this. I'll link it up there or wherever it goes, and I also will be making more videos like this in the future, so definitely stay tuned, and I'll plug in now. If you're not already subscribed to my page, Zoe Stoller, now is the time to do that. You can just click the little button right down there, and you can also turn on the notification bell so you can find out when I post new videos like this. But now let's get into it. The final question of this afternoon. What pride flag do you think looks the nicest? Now, obviously, this is a super subjective question, but I actually really like the genderfluid flag. I'll put a picture of that up here as well. I just think the colors are really pretty, and also genderfluid is my identity, and so I have a special connection with it. But again, this is super subjective, and you would probably have a different opinion from me. So if you have a thought about which pride flag you think looks the nicest, or which pride flag is your favorite, regardless of what your identities are, definitely let me know down below. And if I haven't already done a pride flag explanation video about the flag that you suggest, I'll definitely add that to my list as well. And if you want to see more of my pride flag videos, I have them here on my YouTube channel as well as my other social media pages, and you can find me everywhere at Zoe Stoller. So let me know which pride flag is your favorite, and check out my other pride flag videos to learn more about them. So with that, I will wrap up this video. Thank you so much for watching and being here and being part of my community and being queer. If you are, and if you're not, that's okay as well. But I'm just so happy to have this community and be able to share LGBTQ education and all the things that I wish I had had when I was growing up. So once again, thank you so much, and I hope you have an awesome rest of your day, and check back soon for more videos. See ya!